but there are folks that have not. There are folks that have not RSVP'd, but we still need you to do that. And so we want you to please direct message Shy in the chat with your full name and email, and she will follow up so that you can RSVP. We need that for our evaluation to make sure that we know everyone who was here and to get your feedback on what you learned during the session. To just give you an idea of who the team is today, as you know, Sandra Alexander is the director, the executive director of OCUR. I'm a program consultant with the program this year. We have Michelle Miles Chambers, who's the senior program officer for Faiths with the San Francisco Foundation. Michelle is actually here with us today. We're really delighted. Ebony Smith, who's a program assistant for Faiths. Denise DeLuca, who's an outreach specialist for OCUR. We have Shy, and you see her, and you can also see Ebony in the little boxes in the gallery. Shy Alderman is the operations manager with OCUR, and Simone Stokes, who's administrative assistant. So before we bring on Daryl, we just want to thank our funder, the San Francisco Foundation. And I want to just ask Michelle to come up if she can, if she's available, and say a few words. Michelle has poured her heart into the Faiths program, and because she has done that, very, very successful. We have 2 tracks that are running this year. There's the Masterclass program, which is running through the San Francisco Foundation directly and through OCUR. Of course, we have a model built on faith. And the person who's advocating for that behind the scenes and in front of the scenes is Michelle Miles Chambers, who is the senior program officer for the San Francisco Foundation Faiths Initiative. And I don't know if Michelle is there.
I'm here.
Michelle,
I'm
there
here.
You are.
Well,
we'd like to see you, Michelle, if possible. And could you just say a few words of introduction to?
I am on my phone and I'm in a very dark space. So
okay, well
can
then
you guys see me?
Just let us hear from you then.
Okay. I left my computer somewhere, so I got to figure that out. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Carmen. You're so kind. First of all, I want to thank Sandra and OCUR for this continued partnership that we have to really build the capacity and provide technical assistance and one-on-one consulting for all of our community members, which are you guys doing the first responders work out there in the trenches. And we so appreciate the work that you're doing and the partnership that we have with OCUR. And thank you guys for attending the workshop today. This is going to be a game changer for your organization. I encourage you to continue down the path for the one-page business plan, as well as all of the model built on faith trainings and our masterclass series. What I need, one thing from you guys is I really need you guys to complete the survey, because we really read the surveys and that's how we structure the program from year to year. So we need your feedback. Another thing I need from you guys is I need you all to tell your colleagues and other community members about the resources that we have so that we can get more folks to the training so we can continue to fund the training. It's available for community-based organizations. It's available for houses of worship, congregations, church, mosques, temples. It's available for faith-based organizations. So let's spread the word about this resource. And I just want to thank you guys for taking out time to be with us today. You have a phenomenal staff here with OCUR and with Carmen, as well as the trainers that are coming for the one-page business plan with Daryl and Tony. So welcome. Hope to see you guys more in the future. Remember, surveys and spread the word.
Thank you, Michelle. There's one other point I want to make. In addition to the group trainings through the Model Built on Faith program, you also have access to one-on-one consulting for your organization and other clinics where there are small group capacity building sessions. So I just want to make sure that you take advantage of that, because that is also part of the program. And as we move forward today, just want to let you know that there are several other sessions that are coming for the rest of the year. Keep an eye open for that. Shai's going to be sending you a lot of information on that. And now let's just get to our first speaker. I want to talk a little bit real quickly about the one-page business plan and where it fits into what you've been learning all along in a model built on faith. One of the things that we have said, even in the outreach information that's gone out to you, is that there are many, many uses for having a one-page business plan. And this folds right into your broader strategic planning efforts. So I'm hoping that you will definitely pay attention to this and understand that this blends right into everything you've been doing. And surely it will facilitate the work you've been doing in your organizations with strategic planning, working with your leaders, looking at your mission vision and bringing everything together to improve programs and services to the community. And so our first speaker then is Daryl Mcmillan, who is the founding director of the Nehemiah Project. Daryl Mcmillan is has been on the forefront of the grassroots outreach, program design, and program management since 1990. There's someone who is not mute. There we go. Daryl was one of the first directors of the fatherhood engagement and young male development programs in the San Francisco Bay Area. And as a matter of fact, that's when I met him. And he has spearheaded the launch and subsequent funding of numerous faith-based projects. And many of them are in existence today. So you can see his fingerprint and footprint over the nonprofit community in the whole Bay Area. Daryl is one of our trailblazers. Since the 1990s, Daryl has also worked with OCUR, the San Francisco Foundation Faiths, and leaders in the White House Office of Faith-Based Initiatives, both under President Bush and under President Obama's tenures. And I venture to say he will continue in working with the leadership of the country because his work has elevated to that level. And so it is my pleasure to present my friend to you, Daryl Mcmillan.
Thank you for that introduction, and thank you for everyone who's attending today. Pardon my being on blacked out screen, it's a necessity, but I just wanted to welcome all of you for being here today. It's an honor and a privilege. I'm just so humbled at the history and the, time passes. I mean, it's been like mid-90s since I initially began working with OCUR and Faiths Initiative, and the late David Glover, who was one of the leaders at OCUR, was holding the trainings for OCUR, a model built on faith. And he and actually the foundation of the San Francisco Foundation's director, Fred Blackwell, David's nephew, were both on the board of my first nonprofit. So everything's coming full circle. And now OCUR, who helped me learn how to do work in the community in the 90s, it's now an honor that I'm actually able to come back and help speak with our speaker today, Tony, and others. So just thank you for the opportunity. Next slide, please. Let's talk a little bit about how this all got started. If you wouldn't mind, I'm going to share a little background and also a reflection, a spiritual reflection for our day, kind of grounding and centering, if you call it that. Last year, actually 2021, as I was reading through emails, I sensed, since most of us here gathered are members of the faith community, I was reading my emails and I wasn't as engaged in the nonprofit sector for a few years. I was mostly in my sales role, which I am today. And I was reading an email from Michelle at the foundation soliciting for grant readers. And I sensed the spirit speak to me and said, you need to volunteer to read grants this year. I was like, okay, I'll volunteer to read grants. So I sent an email and requested to volunteer. And at first I wasn't going to be a part of that process because I hadn't been involved. And then the door opened up and they needed me. So I joined in the process. And long story short, after reading these grants from that application, it was in the midst of COVID, had 46 applicants. And we knew that a large percentage of these applicants were going to get funded. And as I'm reading these grant proposals, I must be very honest with you. My heart began to sink, just like Nehemiah's heart sank when he saw the condition of his people. And just like many of you in this room, You're compelled to do the work you do because there's a burden you have in your heart to make a difference. And you want to make that difference, but it's like, my God, our people are struggling. And I saw that when I read these grants. I'm reading these grants and I'm seeing a pattern. It seemed established organizations, people that had established staffing and track records, their grants looked great. But I could read the other proposals and I could read the people's heart. But when you read the words they were writing, it was like, the people are lost. The people need help. I'd like to see us fund these folks, but my scores are so low because they're not clear. They're not clear on their vision. They're not clear on the direction. They say we're going to serve 40,000 people, but their written structure of their organization looks like they might serve 100. So are they just saying stuff just to say it, or where are they going with this plan? And so I shared this in our committees. And as I shared it in our committees, Michelle challenged me. You know how it is, just like in church, when somebody got a great idea, the pastor normally say, good idea, you go do it. And that's what Michelle told me. Michelle said, so Daryl, you're right. The folks do need training. You teach them. And I said, I didn't say I was teaching them. I just said they need help with how to understand how to write and how to clarify their vision. And Michelle said, okay, Daryl, you teach them. And so I took it at that. Less than a week later, I kid you not, a minister calls me from the community and says, Daryl, I want to invite you to my pastor's having a gathering for business leaders at our church online. The very next week, I was introduced by a pastor named Daryl Mcmillan in Vallejo, who is certified as a one-page business plans facilitator under Tony, our speaker today. And as I'm listening to his teaching with the scripture we're going to have on the next slide in just a second, my eyes just opened and my jaw dropped. Everything he was teaching us from this one-page business plan was exactly what the people needed at the San Francisco Foundation grant pool. So the next week, I told Michelle, as we're still scoring the grants, about it, and Michelle immediately said, Daryl, let's do it. So it became an initial starting process with a small training grant in the beginning of 21. By May, it turned from a planning training process into a grant to actually teach many more people this process. And I actually formed it as a new organization underneath the East Bay Community, underneath the Richmond Community Foundation as our fiscal, and we started the Nehemiah Project. So this being said, let's go to the next slide. I want to offer a little bit of reflection to get this going. This scripture right here was the same verse that pastor used that morning, and I want to share it with you now. This morning reflection, the kind of ground us and center us, is based on the book of Habakkuk, 2nd chapter, verse 1 and 2. The scripture reads, while standing guard on the watchtower, I waited for the Lord's answer before explaining the reason for my complaint. Then the Lord told me, I will give you my message in the form of a vision. Write it clearly enough to be read at a glance. This verse right here, I think, succinctly and clearly paints the picture of what it is our people. And when I say our people, I'm not just talking about nonprofits with great directors and boards and organizations. I'm talking about the people I most connect with, people who are in the trenches trying to help folks in the community, but they're struggling with how to articulate what God put on your heart. How do I write it? How do I put it plainly so that I could send in a grant proposal or tell my volunteer staff, here's what we're doing, in a way that makes sense, not just from your heart, because you know it, but how do you now share that with others so that people can run with you? Another interpretation of this verse is so that they could run when they read it, right? So that's the morning reflection. That's the start of how we got started. And I'm not going to go deeply into one-page business plan. I'm going to turn that over to Tony a little bit later, but I do want to introduce you to the process of what is a one-page business plan. Next slide, please. So, time to dismount. It's time to think about and articulate, how do we clarify what it is God put on our heart? How do we get clarity when we're in the midst of doing daily work? Anybody get caught up in busy work and you get so busy doing the work that you don't see the big picture? I don't know if anyone else, you can either raise your hand or use the Zoom controls to kind of put a little flag for that, or a hand raise. You can get caught up in the day-to-day busy work of our organization without having an action plan that governs that work. I've once heard a statement that says that it's a travesty to climb a ladder of success and find that your ladder is leaning on the wrong wall. All right? You're just marching, marching, marching. And then when you keep marching, you find out you're not even going the direction of your mission. You're just doing grants or just to get money, but then those grants aren't even focused on your work. It's time to work on our work and not just in our work. What does that mean? Let's go to the next slide. I'd like to make this illustration clear to you. Imagine you're driving through a forest. You can see the road in front of you. You can see maybe a quarter mile ahead, but do you really know where you're going? Or are you really just stuck on the road of where you're trudging along? If you look at the next slide, however.
Yeah, I want to let you know there's a few people with their hands up too.
Okay, is that a question hand up or just acknowledging that you understand that? If you have a question, plop it into the chat. If it was just a hand acknowledging that you understand what I mean, we'll keep going. Okay, so this next slide makes a little clearer picture. Okay, it was just acknowledging. When you get a higher level, that's what that previous slide said. It said take a 30,000-foot view, like an eagle view. You can see where you are, you can see where you've been, and you can see where you're going. That's what I believe the one-page plan does best. Now, that being said, I'm going to go to screen share. And I want to bring up a slide that will allow me to show you what a one-page business plan looks like. This one-page business plan was not developed in a vacuum, and neither was it developed overnight. It took several meetings with Tony, and Tony provides counseling and support to those of you that are a part of this process with us for the long haul. But here's the one-page plan for the Nehemiah Project. It incorporates 5 sections. You're going to keep hearing this repeated over and over again. Vision at the top, mission, and then vision and mission, which are the 2 founding starting points that we start with any one-page business plan. And that's what we're going to
we can't see your screen.
You can't see my screen?
No.
Okay, 1 second. Oh, I'm so sorry. Screen share. Can you now see it?
Looks like it's starting out.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I thought I had screen share. So this is the one-page business plan portal. This is the one-page business plan for the Nehemiah Project, my project that God has me leading. This one-page business plan, as I mentioned, was developed over quite a bit of time. It has 5 components: vision, mission, which is where we begin, and that's the main focus of part 1 of this training process. Today is part 1. And then after you've developed vision and mission, and by the way, when we say develop the vision and mission, let me make sure I make a caveat. We're not asking you to go and change your board created vision statement or mission statement. We're not asking you to change your website. We're just asking everyone to take a fresh look at how you clarify who you serve, how long you're serving them, what do you deliver, how much funding do you need to deliver it, and what are the services you provide. It's basically really simple, and you don't have to keep changing your previous board direction or vision. So you clarify vision and mission, and then objectives, which are literally your goals, your strategies, which are the how. How do you pull off your goals? And strategies are not actual goals. Strategies are methods you use to govern your organization. And then finally, your action plans, which are your projects. And what's so cool about the one-page plan, it's more than just 1 page. Take a look. There's scorecards where you track whether you're increasing funding, the next objective, recurring donors, whether you track you're hitting those donors, retaining the cohort of people we're training. Today's session is a part of hitting the goals on people trained. Increase individuals served, and then your strategies, and then your action plans. This is the one-page plan for the Nehemiah Project. It's been developed over several months with Tony's help. Thank you, Tony. I'm clapping. And it's also been developed, as Tony will share with you many times, one-page business plans don't get good until the 3rd or 4th edit. So it's a process. That's just what I thought I'd share. So that having been said, before we move to any further slides, I want to take a brief opportunity. We have several people I noticed in the gathering today that are current one-page business plan users. We'll hear from you a little bit later, maybe while Tony's speaking. But I want to turn it over to Michelle Edmond. And Michelle, who has joined forces with us, helping us with grant seeking efforts with many of the grantees and others. Michelle is going to offer her thoughts on how using the one-page business plan methodology has helped shape and change the work she's doing in her organization. So Michelle, turn it over to you for your feedback.
Thank you, Daryl. Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad that you're joining us for this process. I was saying to Ms. Bogan, I have learned so much from the Occur trainings, a model built on faith, over the years. So really happy to see it is still moving forward and still helping us do our best work. I came to the one-page business plan as a grantee of the San Francisco Foundation a year ago. I have a very new nonprofit, was still trying to, as Daryl said, learn how to communicate what we wanted to do and what was in our heart. I just wanted to give a brief example on how the one-page business plan helped me refine the mission for the work we want to do. We're JAMCO Foundation, and we focus on providing services to those experiencing poverty, particularly Black and people of color. So the BIPOC population, and looking at linking them to services and resources. So our mission changed 3 times during this process. I came in with what I thought was a strong mission, engineering programs to eradicate poverty. And then as we went through the process and we started refining through the one-page business plan, I shortened it to just eradicate poverty. And that was good. I thought it looked great on my business card. It says eradicate poverty on the back, but it did not really speak to the work we were trying to do. And I thought, I send this to a funder and it'll sound like we think we are solving the world's issues. And, Jesus said we will always have the poor with us. So how can you eradicate poverty? So that didn't quite get to it. But where I landed was eradicate poverty of mind, body, and spirit. And it still had the goal of eradicating poverty, but it was really about strengthening the individual so that they could live their best life. So when we landed on a mission of eradicate poverty of mind, body, and spirit, it was part inspiration because my husband had been hearing me go through this process, and that's what he started praying for. Lord, help us eradicate poverty of mind, body, and spirit. I'm hearing from Tony Nell, who is amazing, tell me that I need to put more heart into communicating the work that I do. So it really kind of all came together. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle, for sharing. Later, when Tony does her presentation and there's an opportunity for feedback in the audience, I noticed several of you here already have one-page business plans operational. Please feel free during the open discussion period to share your experience or just feedback. One of the things that I think is the greatest blessing of this process is that it's not didactic teaching where you're just being spoken to. We want to hear back from you as we're teaching, and we actually have a lot of what I call this, you've heard of the phrase, iron sharpening iron. We're actually helping each other. And we have small groups, not just the monthly training. We actually have small gatherings that Tony will host using Zoom, where 5 or 6 people that are working on their plan are sharing ideas and feedback and thoughts and reflections, and they're helping each other. It's a beautiful process. And what you see here, this is an online portal. I'll give you one more snippet of this before we move forward. As you today work on your vision and your mission, even if it's just a rough draft of it, once you've emailed that in to us and sent that to Tony, you'll get Tony's email address and to mine at the Nehemiah Project. I'll post it in the chat room. And then you've registered for session 2, which we'll talk about later. We actually have a 4-part series. It just so happens part 2 is next week, Wednesday, the 20th, from 9 a.m. on, 9 to 12, and sometimes we end early. Every 3rd Wednesday is our one-page business plan for in April, May, and June. That will be part 2, 3, and 4. If you go through this process, we'll actually give you an online portal through the gracious support of the San Francisco Foundation. It's paid for at a reduced fee. of $30 a month, but we pay for you to access this portal. And what's beautiful is that when you open up the portal, you can work on your actual scorecard for each objective, just like that. And you can work on your action plans where you can actually track accomplishment towards goals. It's a wonderful process. And I just want to encourage everybody to do it. The last thing I'll do before we prepare to turn over is I just want to read my vision and the mission statement we have for the Nehemiah Project. By the year end of 2024, grow the Nehemiah Project into a successfully run Greater San Francisco Bay Area nonprofit organization with annual funding of $250,000. That number is going to bump up to 300. I just had a meeting with Michelle the other day, so we're going to bump it to 3. Providing organizational and fund development, including individual coaching options, new strategic thinking and management best practices for small to medium-sized faith-based nonprofit organizations. In future, we plan to expand through several additional foundation partners and a growing list of individual donors and volunteers. And the mission, helping faith-based nonprofit leaders express and fund their vision. I wanted to read those two to close my thoughts with this. If you're not familiar with the story of Nehemiah from the scriptures, from the text, Nehemiah worked on a major rebuilding project to rebuild the walls around Jerusalem. But here's the thing, he didn't work on the walls. He had a game plan and he had relationships with the kings, the keepers of the forest, the keepers of the iron, the wood, the soldiers. Nehemiah was an organizer of resources, but he did not work on the wall. It was the people in their representative neighborhoods that worked on their section of the wall. And Nehemiah supplied the resources and the plan to help them work on the wall. And that's how I see myself. I'm in a midlife situation for me. I'm pulling back from managing direct services. And I've come to an epiphany that if I could help 100 nonprofit leaders in the Bay Area, and if each of those folks are serving an average of 1,000 people through their nonprofit, I'm actually helping indirectly 100,000 people in the Bay Area. So my goal is to help 100 small to medium faith-based nonprofits expand and increase their impact in our community. And that's why I'm here today. And I look forward to introducing you guys to the one-page business plan. And I hope everyone will not only benefit from today, but more importantly, register for the next 3 sessions so that you can continue this training process. So that's us, that's the Nehemiah Project. I would like at this point to introduce you to our speaker today. Do we have, yeah, I'll do the introduction and the bio. Actually, I asked Michelle.
You did, I can do it. Let me take the honor. Tony Nell is an amazing lady. I only met her as part of this process a year ago, and I have become a huge, huge fan. She is Director of Training and Implementation for the One-Page Business Plan. She is an executive coach and a one-page business planning and execution expert with 25 years of experience in strategic planning, in leadership development, executive coaching, and corporate training. She has broad professional experience, everything from starting her own catering business to corporate experience at Agilent. And she has been the director of training and implementation at the One-Page Business Plan Company since 2003. And that really shows when you work with her. I've been in both small groups with Tony, trainings with Tony, and then she has worked with me one-on-one on my own one-page business plan. And she really takes the time and has the heart to both understand and listen to what you're trying to accomplish, and then help you express that in a way that you can communicate broadly. So she has also worked as a lead business coach and affiliate licensing trainer with Michael Gerber, author of the E-Myth Revisited, but mostly she loves to engage, mentor, and support people. I give you Ms. Tony Nell.
So I don't believe we have any more slides
mute, Tony.
from Daryl, so we're turning it over to Tony.
See here. Sorry for the slow uptake, you guys. All right, can everybody hear me now?
Yep, you're coming through loud and clear.
Good news. Hello, hello, and good morning. I'm going to just jump right in. Let's get going. as Daryl said, it's time for us to stop and zoom up to 30,000 feet and look down on work on what it is that we're doing. Most of us are really, really, really busy doing it all day long, trying to get all the things done, help all the people do the work, make the money, etc. Right? This is a one-page business plans make us do the hardest possible thing, which is stop and think, and then get our very best thinking into writing so that that is what we commit to and create. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me. So what are we going to do? I am going to share this tool with you, and I'm going to warn you, I love this thing. I love this thing because I know what it can do. I have seen it help companies scale up, start up, and recover lots and lots of times. Businesses, nonprofits, you name it. It's kind of the elastic waistband of planning. I'm going to challenge your thinking about business plans because this is a little bit different and it actually works and will serve you in your org. But getting our best thinking in writing makes it possible for the people who invest in us, those foundation grantors, to know that their investment was worthy and going to the best possible use, right? Most of us think business plans are these long, cumbersome 50-page documents. And what I know about human beings, because I am one, is that most of us complicate in our minds the things we're afraid of, right? We do. We make them very, very scary. And so then we don't even have to start. Or maybe that's just me. Let's keep going. The next level of success in your nonprofit, whether you're starting up or scaling up or recovering, is this notion of discipline. And discipline is not what I thought when I was 7 years old. Discipline actually comes from the root word disciple, to follow the most excellent example. And I think that this is that. Having a plan tells people you're serious, you're professional, you know where you're going, you're clear, and that you're going to stay focused. But mostly it distinguishes you as a leader. It really does. Why have a plan? I think we all know. Has anybody here ever heard of the one-page business plan? I'm just very curious about that. If you want to, oh, Sarah. Okay, cool. Good to know. Good to know. Thanks for that. Kathy Leonard, gorgeous. Thank you for that. I appreciate hearing about that. Sometimes I think it's the best kept secret in planning, even though it's been around for 20 years. And about 20 years ago, the guy who invented this, my friend Jim Horan, he says that he did something either incredibly brilliant or terribly stupid. He figured out how to get an entire business plan on a single page, which is remarkable. Let's get, come on here, come on. There we go. Everybody's got a plan. It's in your head, it's in your to-do list, it's in your inbox, it's in your outbox, it's on those Post-it notes stuck to your monitor. It's everywhere. It's on your phone, it's in your texts, it's everywhere, right? And this is going to bring it all together for you. This is really the fastest, easiest way to get your best thinking into writing. So that is what this is all about. And Shai, I just wanted to say to you, if there are questions that you can feed to me from the chat, I'd really appreciate it. I'm just terrible at multitasking, you guys. So I need help.
Yeah. Stephen just said, never heard of the one-page business plan, but I have been trying to trim my resume to one page. Similarity.
Love it. Excellent. It's much harder to get it on a single page, right? It requires what I call concise thought or concision of thinking. It really, really does. So we've already seen what one of these things looks like, and it has these 5 key elements, right? And the whole idea is that it is your map. It's your roadmap to where it is you really want to go, and it helps you keep your eye on the prize. It really does. So what is this one-page methodology? How do you do that exactly? That sounds kind of tricky and silly and like it's not really real. Okay. Well, we use those 5 key elements and they're based on 5 key questions. And that came from a lived experience of Jim Horan losing his job in the 90s, reinventing himself as a consultant and asking people to see their business plan and realizing this was a huge problem. Nobody had one that was current or useful. They were all a waste of time. I'm not going to waste your time. I promise that. And he realized that if he asked these same questions long enough, that the answers he got from his client were a really clear plan, right? Were a really, really clear plan. So we use fill in the blanks templates. I don't know about you, but in 1st and 2nd grade, I thought those were so much fun. I really did. And we just focus on what's important. What doesn't make it onto your plan is at least as important as what does, because that's what you won't do anymore. That's what you won't allow to eat your lunch anymore, distract you, or take you away from what it is that's most important, right? So these are those 5 key questions I keep referring to. And if you're ever lost when you're building your plan or working on your plan, reviewing your plan with your team, always remember that key question. We do not define these words: vision, mission, objectives, strategies, action plans. We don't do that. We have a key question that we answer. And the reason is, depending on where we all went to school, worked, and whatnot in the last 20 years, we are all going to have somewhat different definitions of what a vision really should be, or how long a mission must be, or whatever that is, right? So we have this methodology, and when we stick to it, it produces an unbelievably excellent and clear plan that literally your 5th grade kid could pick up and they could see what you're building, why it exists, what you're going to measure, how you're going to do it, and what you're going to work on. All right. What is your commitment? Well, writing these plans is a commitment, isn't it? And reviewing them monthly illustrates how committed you are. Because when we review these plans monthly at our monthly meeting, that's the crucial piece. Most folks regard planning as something we're really busy and we do it and then we're done and get that thing out of here and I got to get back to work to what I really do, right? This is not that. They work together. It's all of a piece. The document supports your work, right? We'll get to that in a second. So let's take a look at a one-page business plan. Therapeutic Writing Center. Let's see here. Zoom's coming up. I'm trying
Tony,
to...
somebody has a question. Kathy said, I'm surprised, quote, vision comes before, quote, mission. Can you speak about the thinking behind that?
Because first we have to articulate what we are building. Who are we? Where are we? What are we doing? Who do we do it for? How much are we going to do? Who's going to help us? And how are they going to help us? And in future, what will it look like? Right? We need to know that. That is literally the foundation of everything. And until you can articulate a clear vision, you can't write a business plan. And what I know is that once you have accomplished this fill in the blanks part, that's just the beginning. That's how we get started, right? It makes it easy for you. But then you are going to write this in a way that has heart and meaning for you. You're going to inject some soul, some texture, some spice into this thing that tells us who you really are and helps us connect with you. Did that answer your question? How am I doing?
May I also add, Tony, that just because the vision in the one-page plan comes set up before mission does not mean the vision is more important than the mission. They're all together working seamlessly towards getting you to the goal, but it's absolutely right. First, you see something, and then you articulate what it is you see or vision. And then your mission is just clarifying, why am I doing this?
It's
What's the
me.
real reason I'm doing it? It doesn't mean the vision is more important than mission. They both are important.
All 5 elements of the one-page plan have equal weight. The mission is incredibly brief, 8 to 12 words or less, and it has just as much weight as the vision or the metrics for that matter. Okay, so again, you're going to have to kind of put aside what you think a business plan is and just open your mind to this whole notion of just answering a question and filling in the blanks. And you have all that information about what you're building and where you're going in your head already, right? So this is Shazam Equestrian Center. They're in Southern California. They do therapeutic riding for kids with disabilities and adults. And they also train teachers there. Right? All right. This is their mission statement. This tells us why they exist. Why they exist from the perspective of the people they are in service to. This is not what you want to give them. This is why they come to you. This is what distinguishes you from all others. This is your one-page promise to the community, what you're going to do, right? This is why people give you money. Measurable objectives. What do we want more of and less of this year, right? And they're this year only. These are tactical metrics for this year. The from number is whatever it was last year. For some of us, it's 0, and that's fine. And the to number is what we would like it to be at the end of this year. So expand operating capital from to, right? That's how that works. And we want a nice mix of things that we want to grow. Always think of at least 1 or 2 things you want to minimize, right? Here in Western culture, we're always thinking bigger, better, faster, whatever, right? I want us to use the other side of our brain and consider, what do we need to minimize, drive down, get rid of, right? What are those things? Often we forget to look at that, right? Strategies tell us, how are we going to grow this organization over time? How are we going to realize that vision? How are we going to deliver that mission? How are we going to achieve the numbers in every single one of those measurable objectives? How are we going to do that exactly? What are the things that we will engage in? And remember, what doesn't make it on here is what you won't do anymore, right? Here's some more examples here. And action plans. These are hard projects and programs for the year, big, hearty, juicy, chewy things. They're going to have 10, 15 to-do items within each, if it can be accomplished with a phone call or by completing a document. That is not an action plan. That's a piece of something else probably that's very important. So this is where we need to really zoom up to 30,000 feet and look at, what are our big rocks for this year? What are the biggest rocks we need to accomplish or work on this year? And as I said, we use fill in the blanks templates. It is not cheating, but it really helps you get going very quickly. All right. So why does your nonprofit exist? From the perspective, right, of the people we're in service to. Key client needs you're serving, competitive edge, but more importantly, what is your promise that you're actually going to deliver? And so this is the fill in the blanks for mission. It need not start with the words "we help," but it is a good way to get started, if you will. What just happened? Okay, so I got to reshare my screen. Okay, now? Okay. All right. So back to mission. So it need not start with the words "we help," right? But it is a good way for you to get clear about who you're helping and what you're delivering to them, right? Because that's why they come to you or will come to you.
Tony, may I chime in with something we always talk about on
Yeah.
mission? And that is that, if you wouldn't mind, just express a little bit about this. We hear mission statements all the time that are so brief. we think about Nike. I bet you many of you right now know Nike's mission statement right now. It's super simple.
3 words.
3 words. What is it? Just do it. That statement right there contains who they help and what they do to help those people. Nike supplies, to do it, you need tennis shoes, you need exercise equipment, you need headbands, you need sweatsuits. They literally contain everything they're all about in that statement. Home Depot, you can do it, we can help. 6 words, but they literally are conveying they are there to help homeowners do do-it-yourself projects, and they sell everything needed for your everyday homeowner to fix their house up. So it's really simple. It's not a 1-2 page story you're telling. It's consolidating your work you do into the fewest words possible that really conveys the heart. I like what Michelle said earlier. First, she had eradicating poverty. And then as she really reflected and prayed on it, she realized it was eradicating poverty, but focused around the soul of a person. And that's the process we're all going to go through. As if you continue with this, you're going to be refining and refining and refining. I'm done. I'll get off of that.
Oh, that's great. And you can tell by the way that Michelle's mission statement developed that, quite frankly, eradicating poverty, that sounds great. But eradicating the poverty of mind, body, and spirit, I am feeling something when I hear that. And you want people to feel something when they see this. This mission statement, right, should appear immediately below the name of your nonprofit, always. It is your branding. It telegraphs to the community what you're going to do for them and what you're promising. All right. Let's see here. Let's just keep going. Here's somebody who I just worked with last week. She came up with that. Objectives, measurable objectives. These are metrics, if you will, right? Key performance indicators, right? They must be graphable. We are going to measure something every single month. If you write a measurable objective, like increase volunteers from 3 to 6, that is much more of an action plan. Whenever we're measuring just a handful of something, 2, 4, 6, 8, like that, it's always more about the work of gathering those things or connecting to those people. It's not about the counting. Dollars we count, right? Work is different, and I will help you distinguish between those 2 things, right? But they're graphable because we're going to review these plans every single month. Are we closer or further from our goal? Are we where we want to be or not? Are we above it? Do we need to expand our goal? Maybe that happens actually all the time because these plans help you really focus on what's important without any fluff, filler, or BS, frankly. Strategies. How will you grow over time? All right. I like to say there's a formula for these: goal plus how, and how. It sets limits, like I said, on what we will and won't do, what you'll, if it's not on your plan, you're not supposed to do it. And if you're doing it, it should be on your plan. Plans always need to be a complete mirror image of the reality of the thing that you're in. It's not some pie in the sky, shiny thing that it's real. It needs to be real. Absolutely. Action plans, big, hearty projects and programs for this year, right? These are things that are going to build your org. If you are in startup, you're going to have a bunch of these, and I will help you with that. Here's an example of how important it is, for instance, to spread these around the 4 quarters of the year. Often people write these things, do this by Q1, that by Q2. The truth is, those are only 4 dates on the calendar: March 30, June 30, September 30, and December 31. Those are only 4 days out of 365, okay? And so we're gonna pick a real day. We're not gonna go with that Q business because it's flim-flam, okay? It prevents us from committing, is what it does. Now, this is the reason that the one-page plan is so powerful. This is the brainchild of Jim Horan, like I said. The vision, mission, and strategies are multi-year. They are strategic. Quite frankly, the mission statement should be timeless, right? So those are multi-year, those are strategic, those are high level, right? The trackable action plans and objectives, measurable objectives, those are tactical and this year. And that's why this thing is the elastic waistband of planning. That's why it works. That's why I've seen it work literally. Well, I'm getting up on 5,000 one-page plans now.
Tony, can I chime in on this one? And by the way, if anyone has a question or wants to ask one,
Oh, please
raise your hand and ask. I got one comment I want to make. This is so vital. This page is, like Tony calls it, the secret sauce of the one-page plan.
Yes.
If you guys take a look at the blue lines, the vision, the mission, and the strategies are your governing direction of your organization, your vision, your mission, and then how you run your organization. That's the blue lines, that's strategic. And then the green lines, I'm just repeating some of the things Tony said, but it's so important, it's worth repeating. The objectives and the action plans are the work you're doing, this year only, this is our project, this is our numbers, this is our measurable objectives. This is our quarterly projects. Here are the things we're doing. So the green line is what you're doing, and the blue line is your vision, your mission, and your 3-year strategies, long range. So just make sure you guys get a grasp of this page. It's the secret sauce of the one-page plan. Sorry to interject.
Oh, that's excellent and very supportive, and I appreciate it. You know, there's no need for a separate strategic and tactical plan, ultimately, right? Yes, you need to have strategy planning and go deep there, but the conclusions you reach will wind up on your plan, okay? And having it all in one place, I think we all know how nice that is, right? We do. So how do I know when my one-page plan is complete? Exactly. Well, you are going to look at it and you're going to feel good. You're going to feel proud. You're going to feel excited. You're going to feel things, for one thing, right? You will feel accomplished. You will know that it reflects your very best thinking in this moment, right? But as Michelle said, these plans just don't get good until that third edit, because every single word counts. Heck, every letter, right? Add an S to something and it could change everything from singular to multiple, right? So every word counts. There's no fluff or filler, remember? All right, so we're gonna do a little exercise here, and I'm wondering if this isn't a good time for a couple of questions and or a bathroom break. So let me take a look
Yes,
here.
Tony, but before, yes, Tony, I agree. So let's get some questions. But before we go to break, if you could kind of put that assignment out there for people to start thinking about it over the break, that assignment we're going to work on today.
Oh, okay. Wait a sec. Excuse me. Why, what, where? Where's my fill in the blanks template? Well, I'll bring it back in just a second, I guess. Okay, I'll have that up after the break.
Okay.
And I apologize for that.
No, it's quite all right. It's quite all right. The main thing I think we haven't shared, Tony, is that the goal of today's session is not all 5 components of the one-page plan. We're going to work over the next 3 additional sessions, but it's the vision and the mission today. That's what we're trying to hone in on, getting everyone to not just be taught didactically, but to practice this. So go ahead from there, Tony. We're going to try to get everyone to work on your vision and mission today.
Okay, we are going to take a 5-minute break, and then we're going to take just a couple of minutes for you to either hand type or hand write your first pass at this, right? And I recommend that you can simply write it on paper or type it on the screen. Okay, but follow the template, right? So I want you to choose a time horizon of 3 years. It's challenging, but it's not so far ahead that you cannot plan for it, that you can't see it, right? So I think we're looking at by fiscal year end 2024. And then you just fill in your organization name, what kind of funding and total funding you'll be taking in that year, 3 years from now, right? Services that you offer, etc., and who you serve. Right?
Tony, do you want to go ahead and unshare your screen for the break, or do you want to leave that up?
I would like to leave it up, frankly.
Okay. So we'll take a 5-minute break.
Sounds good. But we're not going to do any questions yet.
Yeah, let's take a few, in case there is any questions before we go to break. Is there any questions or thoughts from reflections before we go to break?
I have a question. Sorry, I came in late and you probably covered it already, but are we going to get a copy of this recording?
Yeah, I'm gonna, it will get sent out to everybody. Just make sure that you've RSVP'd for this workshop. And if you haven't, drop your name and your email in the chat. You can direct message me, Shai, and I'll make sure you can get you RSVP'd so we have your contact information and can send that to you.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks, Shai.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
That made sense. Sorry, that was kind of thrown at you.
All right.
Any further questions? And while anyone's waiting to answer a question or chime in, just to remind everyone, not only are we going to assist everyone who chooses to continue on this path with us, if you submit your vision and mission statements to us by email and register for the next session, you will not only get an online portal that the San Francisco Foundation is sponsoring for you as a faith-based leader in our community, but we're also going to mail you a copy of the nonprofit edition of the one-page business plan workbook. We will get your mailing address. It's already been purchased. I got a box of them right here at my home, and we're going to mail them to you. So we really are here to help you guys. We got books. We got an online portal that you'll work on live. Tony's going to offer counseling sessions, like 30-minute and 1-hour blocks to help you work on this. We're here for the long haul, but we can't do it without your time commitment on your end of working with us. So just to clarify, that's what we're going to be doing. Helping you out along the way, meeting with you, having one-on-one sessions and small group. Any further questions?
I want to say one thing before we take that question, and that is that this program is a blend of these Zoom trainings, but also one-on-one coaching, consulting, and mentoring with me to develop your best one-page plan. Just want to make that clear.
And we thank Michelle and the foundation for covering the cost of that. So this is a very important resource for everyone here.
Okay, question? Anything?
So I wonder if it was Andre or someone had their hand up.
Yeah, Brother Daryl, I just want to make a comment, just chime in to the folks that are still on the call, and I'll make it real brief, and that is trust the process. Whatever you do, trust the process and follow up. I took that route and it has changed the trajectory of my organization.
Thank you, Andre. And if there's any other thought you have, feel free to chime in. I made sure Andre was going to make sure he's here. He's completely, and I really endorse that. Andre has been with us since that first session. We're now in our third cohort, and he pops up into every session, just participating, encouraging others, and growing his organization. So it's really been phenomenal. Thank you, Andre.
You're welcome.
Any other thoughts before break?
It's 10:05. That gives us a perfect 10:10 comeback. What do you think?
Sonia did mention something in the chat. They said, I happen to be available to attend today's session, but normally I work 9 to 5. I'd like to, but I'm unable to participate in parts 2 to 4. How can I benefit from the full offerings of this otherwise?
The process of becoming part of the one-page plan cohort does require participation in our other groups. However, I'll give you, before we're done, I'm gonna post my email and contact information in the chat, as well as Tony will. And we can, I would think, not have a problem forwarding you a copy of the one-page business plan workbook. The portals are for those that continue with the process, and complete the courses. So we'll have to speak with you on a one-off situation, but we've devoted the access to the portal and all the resources for those that can participate in the sessions. I can forward you the other sessions as we record them. We'll have to work with you on a one-off situation to see how we can assist you.
And we will. Next.
I think that's it for now. We're going to have more questions at the end. Thank you, Tony, so far for the first half. It's been phenomenal, and we look forward to continuing.
All right, back in a few.
And Tony, you said you wanted to leave this up, right? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah,
That
for
sounds like
five
yeah.
minutes. So we'll be back, I guess, at 10:12.
Okay.
Okay, I believe it's 10:13. We should be ready to return. Just a heads up for anyone here, until you get a copy of the slides and or the presentation, use your camera phone and take a snap of the screen you're looking at right here. That's an easy way to capture the fill in the blank on the vision statement. Just snap the screen with your phone and you'll always have it. Okay, I see a question from Deanna. When you say, do we paste, are you asking about in the chat window? That would be no. What you do, Deanna, is you take you email it to Tony. Tony's gonna post her email address. There we are right there. Forward your rendition of your vision statement. Let me offer a caveat here. Always happens at least once every training. We're not asking you to go to your website and say, I spent a year working on my vision statement, and then you copy it and just send us what you already wrote 2 years ago. That's not the vision statement we're looking for. We know you spent a lot of time working on that. We respect that. All we're simply asking, and we're not asking you to change your vision statement or your mission statement. We're asking a real simple question. Can you use this exact fill in the blank statement and fill in the first blank with your years, fill in the next blank with your organization's name, fill in the next blank with how much money you plan on operating at annually in the year 2024 if you use 3 years, then fill in the blank with who you serve, and then finally, fill in the next line providing what you serve, and then finally who you serve it to and that you're passionate about. So it's real simple, just fill in the blanks. That's all we're asking. Once you've done that, you'll find yourself editing and trimming and modifying this over time. I see Tony's back. I'm gonna turn it back over. So we're just asking you to use this fill in the blank, send it to us as an email, and that's how we will further assist you in developing your one-page plan, get your portal open, get you a copy of the book, and be working right along the road with you starting with part 2 next week.
Okay, Kathy, really well raised. Somebody raised their hand.
I
Kathy
did. Tony, if I could ask just a quick question. I'm surprised as well that the first emphasis is on the money in the vision statement. That's just that's challenging for me, and I just think I would have thought that it was around, you know, what we're providing to whom and what we're about before money. So and I'm again curious about the thinking there.
Yeah, so actually it's the third thing that we mentioned. First of all, years to completion. How long are we giving ourselves to complete this vision or make this thing come true? And who are we? What's our identity, right? What's the name of our org? Those are the most, what's our time horizon? Who are we? And we're going to be a successfully run nonprofit. And without money, without resources, we can't help others. And knowing how much money you're going to have, how much resources you're going to have to help others is crucial and central to a nonprofit org. The work and the support and the services delivered, that is the core of it all. But without resources, we can't really do that. It also indicates our growth from year to year to year. And so as we're asking for grantors to invest in us, this is proof that we have used those resources to the very best every single year, year after year. We have 4 raised hands. Oh, wow. Okay.
May I continue with that same answer, Tony?
Go.
Okay, so in a business model, just like there's profit loss statements, there's various aspects of a professional, regular for-profit company. They have a profit loss statement. They have budgets for the year. Now, I understand many of us in the social nonprofit sector are concerned about putting money ahead of cause. But let me clarify something. If we're running an organization and we're planning on growing that organization, to not think about money is actually a detriment to our work. Because if we need to hire staff, for example, I met with Michelle Edmonds just this week, and we were mapping out the direction of the Nehemiah project. I currently have in my Nehemiah project's one-page business plan a projection of $250,000. But by the time Michelle and I mapped out everything we plan on doing a few years down the road to help you, that number became $300,000. So now I have to change that number. It's not that we're greedy about money. It's not that we're trying to, pull money from the community. We're simply mapping out, here's what we want to do. Here's how much money it takes to do it. And here's who we serve, and here's how we serve them. It's simply a dollar amount associated with the cause. We need money to help sometimes in our community to run the organization. Even if that money is nothing more than $5,000 a year and you're a voluntary organization, put it down.
Exactly. Fantastic. All right.
There's other hands raised as well.
Yeah. Anybody?
Yes, Tony. Did somebody go before me? This is Andre again. And for the comment the young lady made with regards to why are we putting money first, I don't know if she termed it that way, but I can only come from a biblical context. In the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10 and 19, it states this: food is for laughter, wine is for merry, but money answereth all things. And so that's from a biblical context. So if it's in the Bible, I'm going to buy into it. It's hard to run an organization without the economic wherewithal to purchase the things you need in order to serve. It's just, it's not going to happen. And so again, you have to have money. Nonprofit doesn't mean nonprofit, contrary to popular belief. You have to have money. You can't do anything without it. And so,
and if you're going to grow your organization, you need to project where you plan on being in 3 years and how much projected revenue that 3-year vision will cost. And that's simply what that means. Now, if you have another vision statement you use for your organization and it's more passion and it's more service and it's other kind of orientations to it and it never speaks to money, that's fine. The purpose of this one is just to put these key components into an action plan that you can map out a strategy for the organization. That's it.
The very best thing you can do before you write your one-page vision is to read whatever you have written now. A lot of people want to send that stuff to me. It's not going to be useful if I read it. It's going to be useful if you read it and then you write. Okay. And you're going to pull out the bits that are the most important. I'm not asking you to only have a vision statement that fills in these blanks and stop. No, this is just the start. This is kind of like our training wheels that gets us rolling down the street. And then we're going to inject some soul. And there's plenty of room for that. Lots of room, actually.
I'll also add that you guys also keep in mind this question here, this vision statement, you'll do a draft. I saw someone, I think it was Josie, asking, is it due today? Not necessarily. Just send it to us when you're done. And if you can, maybe by next week's session would be fine. Because after next week's session, if you participated next week, you sent us your vision and mission first draft and give us your mailing address, we then will mail you a book and we will get you an online portal so you can work on your plan. But let me also say this regarding money. Initially, you have to think about where you're going to be in 3 years and then maybe put a number in draft out there for how much money it might take to run that. But what I've found is this: as you really sit down to process your staffing level projections, realistic projections, consultants, operational expenses, all of those budgetary things are a part of the projection that goes on that one line. So there's a lot more to it than just throwing a number. And I know you may just put a number on there today, but over the next few weeks, I'm going to challenge you to think about where you see your organization in 3 years and maybe take some time to map out how many staff, how many volunteers, how many lunches, how much is the rent, how much is your telephones. That collective number on a budget sheet becomes that line. All right, I'm done with that.
All righty.
Yeah, if I could, I had my hand raised. I'll just add my little piece. I'm Dan Schmitz in Oakland, and I'm just in the beginning of starting an organization. This is fantastic for me. I'm the lead, or have been up to recently, the lead pastor in New Hope Covenant Church. Right now I'm co-pastoring and starting a nonprofit to work alongside the church to do some things that we always talk about, but are never able to get to in the community. And just the realization of having a budget with the church, you know, with the church and a preschool that I can do some things with, and suddenly I don't have those resources anymore, makes the question of money really significant. And I'm used to doing things very undercapitalized because we're using the small resources that we have to try and do too much, and just recognizing how that hampers our organization to operate that way. And so thinking we need to think, you know, with the scope of the next 3 years, how do we grow our organization to match what we really say we want to do, and not be shy about it, but say we need to raise this amount of money to do what we say we want to do.
You know, Doug, I want to throw in one more comment for you on that. This is kind of spilling the beans on the future of where the Nehemiah Project's going. I came to the epiphany that we could help people planning and we can help people strategizing, but at the end of the day, small grassroots nonprofits are usually at the tail end of the fundraising agenda, and the bigger organizations keep getting the bigger grants. So how do you help the small organizations? Over the past 2.5, 3 weeks, Michelle Edmond, I, and a consultant named Ed Ferran have been working with Pastor Andre and his Standing on the Word outreach. We're creating, with Andre's participation, a boilerplate for a new area of our one-page plan for future development. We plan on helping existing one-page plan users through a process of mapping out your fund development blueprint for the future. Take your one-page plan and turn that into a boilerplate proposal that you could use over and over again for grant seeking. And here's why it's so important. Your one-page plan gives you structure and vision, but it is not a grant proposal. People make the mistake thinking it is. It's simply a blueprint to organize your thoughts and get you strategically clear on where you're going, what you're doing, when you're doing it, who you're doing it for, and how much it will cost. Once you have that, you then can sit down and go on the internet and Google nonprofit proposal template, and you literally will get templates showing you how to write a grant. Your one-page plan then gives you thinking and clarity as you write the grant. That's what the power of a one-page plan is. We now are coaching Andre, and we already have another nonprofit or two waiting in the wings, lining up for this consultant service. There is a fee for it now, but we plan on going for a grant of, let's say, $50,000, so we can help 40 organizations or 30 organizations from that $50,000 grant, so that that $2,500 fee is reduced to maybe only half of that. So we're planning on helping small nonprofits with a strategy for grant seeking, grant planning. The other thing you could do at no cost is you could join OCUR's grant writing workshops. OCUR is hosting them. And if Carmen or Shai would like to speak to that, that's vital for each of you who are struggling with your budget. One-page business plans will help you map that budget, but others in this community will help you seek the funding to fulfill that budget. Any thoughts on that, Carmen or Shai?
Well, yeah, I have my hand up because I have had my hand up since there was someone who said they were confused about why the vision statement looked this way. And I just wanted to clarify for everyone, this is not your foundation proposal. This is a plan. Excuse me. So when you're doing this plan, it's a wonderful tool because it can help you with all of your other plans as well. One of those big plans that you have to put together is your strategic plan. And this is something that does not change in terms of you needing it for your organization. This will facilitate that process, and it does it very succinctly, so everything is in one place. The thing I wanted to be clear on, though, is this vision statement is not your proposal vision statement. That's a different thing. If you are going to go to a foundation and you're going to get funding from that foundation, and they have their own template for the way you write the proposal. The vision statement that they're looking for is different. But when you're doing this business plan, then this makes so much sense to include everything in a roadmap sort of format in where you want to go. This is, years ago, we taught on the elevator speech, and everything was not in one place, and we tried to train people on speaking about what you want to do succinctly. This helps tremendously in this process. But please don't confuse what you're working on here. And I see that Tony, thank you very much, Tony, for putting the slide up. She put a slide up for me, thank you. That this does not replace your proposal that you write to a foundation. So if that's a different kind of vision, which it is, it's stated in a different way, you still have to do the one for the proposal. But this is your business plan. This helps you with your planning, your strategic planning, ultimately your program planning. There are many, many plans in having a strong nonprofit organization. I just wanted to say that.
Also, having this in writing makes it very easy to talk about your organization powerfully and get other people excited about helping you with it.
We got a few more hands up. I'd like to ask anyone, lower your hand if you currently don't have a question so we can know the ones who do. Daniel, do you have a follow-up question? Andre, Kathy? Or anyone else?
You got 3.
All right, let's continue.
So no more questions. Is that right? Okay. Now I'm going to ask you a question. How many people here have taken this moment and taken the paper and the pen or typed it out? The vision statement, fill in the blanks. How many people have actually done that? I would like to know. Raise your hand if you have. How many do we have, you guys?
I see Kathy's hand is raised physically as well as on the screen. Kathy, would you like to comment about what you've done with the template we've worked on today? Because this is interactive. Feel free to unmute and just share.
Yeah, let's talk.
I've got to get stacking together. I'm a new company. I've been doing this for free, like 5 years. So I'm just now deciding that I really need to become a nonprofit. So basically, within 1 year, go forward into a successful $100,000 local not-for-profit organization providing basic necessities, curbside communities in North and West Oakland. Now, when you said that are passionate about, I didn't really understand who is being passionate. Is it the organization being passionate? That wording kind of threw me.
Sorry, your microphone's coming through really, really loud and muffled.
Yeah, what I understand, Tony, she's asking about that passion, which I see was added recently. I think that's really a way of just capturing if you want to add an extra comment regarding the passion you do. So in other words, the heart behind everything you just said.
There's a couple of words missing there. It really is supposed to refer to your volunteer being passionate about the thing. So I apologize. That's a passionate line. Okay, we got some real serious audio interference going on. Pretty rough.
So everyone mute that's not formally asking questions so we can get the feedback off. Deanna, do you have a question coming up?
Actually, it wasn't a question. You guys said raise your hand if we drafted out our vision statement with the outline you guys gave. And
are you open to sharing it?
Yeah, because I want feedback. Yeah, I'd love some feedback because I don't know if I went the right direction or not. My vision statement. Okay, so what I wrote is within the next 3 years, grow finding answers in the hood ministries into a successful $2.5 million national nonprofit organization providing spiritual, mental, physical, and economic wellness to females that are passionate about transitioning out of the sex industry.
Excellent start.
Phenomenal start.
Now, may I ask you a challenging question? I'm gonna be a little bit of sandpaper here. Is that okay?
Same thing
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
please
ask,
do.
Daryl. Go ahead.
Okay. How long is the organization brand new?
Yes, I've been doing this work as a volunteer for over 20 years. I'm a C-sex specialist, and I also have experience in working with women that are transitioning from the lifestyle of prostitution and other sex trades. So what I finally did was incorporate, and I am here because I'm trying to get the framework around setting up my nonprofit.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question that may challenge you a little bit, okay?
Mhm.
Are you over $100,000 a year right now today, or under $100,000 a year right now today?
Way under. I am like out of my own pocket under.
Okay, I got you. I got you. May I offer you a little bit of constructive encouragement?
Mhm.
Take that $2.5 million and plan
Mhm.
that. So far in the future, you're not looking at 2.5 million. You're talking
Okay.
about a national organization. Yes, it will take you probably $10 million a year or more to run a national organization. Ask yourself, are you trying to become a national organization within 3 years? Or do you want to strengthen your Bay Area operation over the first few years?
Well, it's kind of yes to both. And the reason why is because I get a lot of calls from girls, from children and women that are out of state.
Right.
And I help them get to safety, whether it's to safe houses in another state or bring them here to California.
All right. May I suggest something? And I'm gonna have to go because we have like 5 minutes left before we start beginning to make a transition.
Uh-huh.
Deanna, I suggest to you that if you're less than 100,000 now, and you're talking about 2.5 million in the next 3 years, I have to be careful because I'm not trying to put a wet blanket on your dream.
No, it's
Do not
good.
take
I'm
it that
open.
way. What I'm simply going to suggest to you is this. Plan a budget that gets you to $150,000 a year first.
Okay.
And let's say that that's a year or two from now. Then plan a budget that gets you to $250,000 a year. And then maybe a little bit more than that. The point, Deanna, is if you're trying to reach for 2.5 million in your planning, I think it's going to thwart you in your effort to first get to $250,000 first. So
Okay,
kind of stage yourself is what I'm suggesting, sister.
No, I'm totally open because I just threw that number in there. I have no idea what it actually the cost is going to take to run nationally. And what my plan is of course to focus here locally, and from there, yeah.
So
but
Deanna, my suggestion is
there.
my closing suggestion is this: if you have to become strong locally before you become known nationally, focus on your local. Do not look at your national. Your national is the end of that road 10 years down or 5 years down or wherever it is. Focus now on your local. You'll get to your national. Your local will earn you the privilege of building to the national. Don't focus on the national right now. That's the dream. But the goal is becoming known locally. That's just food for thought. Trim that 2.5 down, I'd say to no more than $250,000.
Okay.
All right. We have time for a few more questions and thoughts. Tony's, I think we got the email addresses on your screen. Please jot these down. Take a screenshot if you have to. We're going to forward this PowerPoint to you. This is where you will send your one-page initial vision statement and initial mission statement. Please send it here. Let me add a few things to add to it. Give us your phone number, organization name, and your mailing address. Tony and I have one-page business plan books we plan on mailing you. We plan on registering you for a one-page business plan portal, and we need to get you registered if you're going to participate with us next week for part 2 and part 3 in the following months to come. Kathy has her hand up, or is that an acknowledgement, Kathy? Andre has his hand up. Is that an acknowledgement?
Yeah, Brother Daryl, real quickly, man, let me chime in on the last young lady who has a fantastic outreach, wonderful outreach, is so needed. And it's so reminiscent of how I started out, because if you can remember, Daryl, I think I stayed at 2.5 million in my first 3 years, and you were a little bit more harsh with me, but that's okay too, because
yeah, we had some lassos, ropes, all kind of stuff we used with yours, Andre.
Oh man, it was pretty tough, but for all intent and purposes, I mean, those numbers are real when we start thinking about what have you raised from the outset. They become real, and they became real to me. But I will say this is that in terms of that aspiration of going national, I think replication. I think, can your program be replicated? And we're actually in the process of doing that now. We're actually, we have a big meeting coming up next week. I'm just kind of putting that out there to us for some training for some homeless encampments, going into the encampments, training these folks how to do it. And so I got a group of 15 folks and 4 pastors coming out, and they're going to come out with us, and they're going to hit the encampments. We're going to train them. We're going to show them what to do, what not to do. And so this is the first piece in that replication process of standing on word outreach. So that's how it starts.
But I'll add to that, Andre, just to reiterate the point, Deanna, this. When Andre came at me talking about wanting to secure a building to actually launch a capital campaign, we told him no. Not know that he shouldn't dream for that, but know that we're not helping you plan that right now. Focus on what's in front of you, not what's 5-7 years down the road. Get these things done before you work on the other ones. Okay, that's correct. So anyway, thank you, Andre. Thank you, Deanna. We want to make room for a few more points of feedback. Does anyone have questions regarding the task at hand of working on your vision, fill in the blank, or on your mission statement? Any other questions? All right, Tony, any additional thoughts you have as we complete the process for the one-page plan? So yes,
I just want people to know about the upcoming training dates, and we will send them the fill in the blanks, right?
Yes.
As well as the PowerPoint and the recording.
The PowerPoint, I believe Okur is forwarding the training to everyone, Shai, and perhaps we can make the PowerPoint available, Shai, to go along with that. So it's going.
Yeah. So they'll both be available together. That will all get sent out to everyone who's RSVP'd for this workshop. We'll have all your emails and we'll send that out to everybody.
Excellent, excellent. May I ask for a showing of either physical hands or hands raised? How many of you would like to join the other folks we have going into session 2, which is April 20th? How many of you have interest using electronically and joining us next week, April 20th from 9 till 12? We sometimes end early. Great. I see physical hands. I see other hands raised. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So I'll be working with Shai and Carmen for us to get access to some of the database information for many of you here. The continuation of this process today is facilitated by the Nehemiah Project with the leadership of Tony Nail and Michelle Edmond. The 3 of us are helping to spearhead your ongoing training. We now want to pop up with a quiz sheet. So I'm going to pop a quiz on the screen. This is going to test if anyone remembers what we talked about today. So that being said, Shai, can you bring up our quiz?
Absolutely.
Right. Pop quiz time. The first quiz question is, no worries, we'll get there. There we are. Vision. What are you? And feel free to unmute if you know you have the answer. What are you what?
Building.
Building.
Building, yes. Congratulations for those that got it right. Next question. Mission statement. Why are you
doing it?
Why do you exist? Why are you in business? Why are you working on this work? What are you building? Why are you building? Objective. This is 2 very important words for objectives, which are goals. What results will what?
We measure.
Will you measure? Excellent. You're getting it. This is how we do it. Strategy. The next question. How will you make your...
Oh God, I didn't get that.
Your company.
How will you make your money? That's a good one.
Build the company, build your...
Yeah, how will you run your organization? Basically, we'll pop to the next screen because this is formatted a little differently than I've used it. But how will you make your organization grow over time? Yes, excellent. Then finally, action plans. What is the...
Work to be done.
Wow,
This
we nailed
year.
it. Let's go to the next slide. It's all filled in on the next one. What are you building? Why are you building it? What results will you measure? How will you make your organization successful over time? And what is the work to be done? I want to thank every single one of you for being here with us today. I think you guys have done an incredible job. Let's give, with phones and computers unmuted, a hand to Miss Tony Nail for a wonderful presentation. Thank you, Tony.
Hey, you guys.
And so with that being said, everyone who is interested in participating, we will send you out both through Occur an invitation, as well as through those of you that reach out to Tony and I with your completed vision and mission statements. We will communicate with you guys probably over this weekend and Monday with all the information you need to participate. We're going to do this very quickly with a turnaround. Much of it will go out tomorrow, since the training is next Wednesday. It was already scheduled. In addition, if you give us your mailing address along with your completed vision and mission statement and your commitment to register for next week, we will mail you a one-page business plan book written by the late Jim Horan that focuses on nonprofits.
Oh my God, I didn't know
Copy
he.
of the book. Thank you to San Francisco Foundation for their gracious support for that, and for everything else we're doing, funded by the Faiths program led by Michelle and her leadership, Miss Michelle Chambers, Miles Chambers.
I got my hand up, Daryl.
Yes, I'm sorry, Tony, go ahead.
I've been monitoring the chat and I've noticed there's a good handful of people who can't come to next week's training, and they're asking for a makeup. And I think that we should schedule one.
Yes, so
And I think it should be in the immediately after work time, if we can do that. Would that work for most of you?
let me ask that question, Tony. We're already booked for next Wednesday, the 20th. I've actually been thinking about this because a lot of people have been asking me for evening sessions and other sessions. If we consolidate it down, Tony, to like an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours max, I believe we can do another part 2 in the evening that works.
We could.
Shoot for,
Absolutely.
I know I don't want to mess with Bible study nights, and I know Bible studies are like Wednesdays and Tuesdays usually, or are they Thursdays also? What day of the week would probably work good for an evening session? Would it be a Monday evening, a Thursday evening? What are folks thinking? And Tony, what do you think?
Never on Friday. That's what.
Monday works.
That's all I think.
What about the first Monday in May? That could work.
Actually not. I will be taking care of my sister who's having heart surgery. So
How about the
actually,
last
no.
Monday in February?
So it'll be the second week. In
No, the
May.
last February, the last Monday, taking a look at it. Monday, the 25th.
Oh, next Monday. Mhm.
We'll set it right now. Yeah.
I better take a look.
Are
at
you
my
clear?
calendar.
This is a request we're honoring just because of today's session.
I have
Monday, the
time.
25th will be a repeat of the Wednesday session. It will be an evening session. Would you say 5:30 to 7:30 could work, Tony?
Yes, sir.
5:30 to 7:30 is a repeat of the Wednesday session. You can register for either. We will have a Zoom link and a revised flyer, including that in there.
Is that time early enough for all of you who want to come?
Is 5:30 okay? Is anyone who can't make 5:30? We want to go with the consensus. Monday, the 25th will be a backup session in the evening, 5:30 to 7:30. Looks like we've got some yeses. So let's go with it. We still have our session next week on Wednesday, the 20th, and we will add another repeat session on Monday evening, the 25th, from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m.
Okay, it works for
And
Sonia.
Wonderful.
Good.
All right.
Then
Let's
before everyone,
conclude.
I want to make sure before everyone logs out that I can say, make a couple announcements.
Yes, I'm sorry. Going back to Occur and Shy, yes.
Yeah, so I know I've mentioned many times with this the whole RSVP thing, but I just want to make sure that everybody is RSVP'd. A lot of people did it ahead of time, but if you're one of the people that didn't, just make sure that you dropped your email and full name in the chat. You can direct message it to me, to Shy, and I'll make sure to email you and get you all RSVP'd. And everyone that does RSVP, that's how we have your email addresses on file so that we can send you the materials and invite you to future workshops. So that'll all be taken care of all together. So just make sure to drop it in the chat if you haven't done that already. And then the last thing is we have satisfaction surveys, which Carmen mentioned in the beginning, I believe, but these are really, really important. We want to make sure that we have all of your feedback and that we are able to offer workshops that meet all of your needs and that they're actually helpful for everybody. So if everybody could please just take, it just takes a minute or two to fill out. I am going to be sending that in the chat right now. I just sent that out. So just click that. If you could fill it out while you have everything fresh in your brain, that would be super, super helpful. But yeah, that's basically it. Thank you.
Shai, can I say one thing before everybody clicks out?
Yeah. Oh, also, yeah, the next workshop. Is that what you were going to say?
There are a couple of things. Well, first of all, I want you to watch your emails very closely because you're going to have communications coming from several components of San Francisco Foundation Faiths. So there are going to be other workshops coming up from OCUR. The next one is going to be on legal issues, I think, legal issues for nonprofit organizations. Yeah. A little bit later, we're going to do a whole series on technology and hybrid program planning. And then also from San Francisco Foundation, there's another series called the Master Class, which is almost like TED Talks. And the next session is going to have my nephew, Devon Bogan and Regina Rashad, who just left EOYDC. And so all of these are going to be really exciting. You're going to be getting a lot of emails, and just remember, you're going to be getting information on the web-page business plan, the continued programming for Faiths with OCUR, and then also the master class with the San Francisco Foundation. Yeah. So, and Regina Jackson, I'm sorry, I said Rashad because I've known her for so many years, but Regina Jackson just left EOYDC. But what she did is she set up a succession plan that brought youth in as leaders, which is really important. And Devon has worked in that area as well. So we're talking about legacy and how to develop legacy in your planning and to bring along that next group of people who are going to make impacts in our communities. And so that's Regina Jackson, Devon Bogan, and then also we have Carl Mill, who's going to be coming in and doing a huge workshop on legal issues and what to know if you're a nonprofit organization. So just letting you know.
And with that, what Carmen was just mentioning, that that next workshop in our leadership training series is on May 26th, and it's called Building Your Legal Guardrails. And more specifically, it's just sort of meant to help you assess what new legal guardrails should be in place in your organization to help you move forward and to kind of help you thrive through all of the different changes and transformations that have happened during the pandemic. So that's happening on May 26th, and everybody that's RSVP'd, we will send you information for that. And there's also information on amodelbuiltonfaith.org about all of our workshops.
I want to offer one quick closing comment to one of the questions that came up in the chat. Someone asked about the registration for future sessions for the one-page business plan. When OCUR sends out a follow-up email to the closure of this email, to this session, we're going to ask that the subject line is going to mention one-page business plan. So the follow-up to this for referring you into the next session, look for the subject line that will have one-page business plan or OBPP in it. And in that email, you will have a Zoom link. Tony is setting that Zoom link up as the registration mechanism. So when you click on that, it will help you set up registration. Tony, can you reference any comments on that? I know you said we can register through the Zoom link itself. You're muted. Muted again. Muted again. There we go.
Okay, got it this time. We will send a link to the registration to all of you who've attended today or anybody who are RSVP. Okay.
And we will partner with OCUR on putting that email together post haste so that you can either attend next Wednesday or Monday the 25th, 5:30 to 7:30. That's it for us. Back to OCUR. I'm sorry, Tony.
Okay, most important thing, take that first stab at the fill in the blanks vision. That's just the baseline. We're going to build on that. We're going to expand on it, but just get those facts in there and then we can start to fly.
Yes. Again, thank you so much, Tony. Thank you to Carmen. Thank you, Shai. Thank you to everyone with OCUR, Sandra for helping us pull this together, and of course, Michelle from the foundation for helping underwrite the cost of this process.
And if anyone needs one-on-one consulting, there are slots still available through a model built on faith. So if you need one-on-one consulting for your organization in general, there was someone who is just getting started with a brand new nonprofit. That would be something that you could apply for one-on-one consulting, and that is free, funded by the San Francisco Foundation, and you can apply through OCUR. And you will be assigned to a consultant who will walk you through whatever the issue is that you need to address with your nonprofit organization or your faith-based organization. Okay.
And I know that there was a lot of information kind of thrown at everybody in terms of the different workshop series and different dates and how everything works. And if anybody's confused at all, I'm going to put my email in the chat. So you're just welcome to send me an email just to get some clarity, because I know it was kind of maybe a little confusing.
It was a lot. Thank you so much, Shai.
Yeah, of course. But I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. It was wonderful. Thank you for coming. I know you got a lot out of that. It was an amazing training. And thank you, Tony and Daryl, once again. Bye-bye, everybody.
Happy to serve. Happy to serve. Thanks, Michelle, for your testimonial earlier and for all the work you do in the background.
And thank you, Shai. You were awesome support to everyone.
Shai is amazing. The whole team is amazing.
They are.